A sexual interaction is something where a huge amount of memory is taken from one to the other. You can observe people, they will have pleasure, they will giggle all the time, but you look at them, there is no joy in them, there's no ease. You look at Draupadi's life, how much volatility, how much pain, how much suffering she went through in her life. Because today's psychiatrists are analyzing these things and saying that is because they have not been sufficiently touched by their mothers and parents at an early age. When they grow up, they're desperately longing to touch somebody all the time. People come to me and say, Sadhguru, can you bless my daughter, can you bless my son? First thing I ask is, how old? If they're over 21, I say no. When I was into lot of sadhana, I would have somewhere between 5 to 7 showers a day. And all sadhus, sannyasis, those who are on spiritual path, wash their clothes with red earth. Generally, the course of life is considered to be approximately 84 years or 1008 cycles of the moon.
Sadhguru, my next question for you is, why can't one husband be with multiple women and one woman or a wife can be with multiple husbands in today's society among consenting adults? And what impact do these people have when they're involved in such relationships?
See, body is the front end for every other creature on this planet. The only reason this creature is dominating this planet is not because we have the best body. You're not comparable to an elephant or a tiger or anything for that matter, you're not even as good as a buffalo. Yes, in terms of strength and physical prowess, you're nowhere comparable. This is dominant because of its intelligence, this is dominant because of its consciousness. But right now, we are creating a world where your biology is the front end of your life. These things were done at a certain time when the social situations were such. Or men were married to more than one woman. This was mainly because men died more often than women. Today, both men and women are outside, both may get killed, that's different. But at that time, largely women stayed home because she was continuously pregnant. From the age of 14 to 45, 50, she's almost all the time either she's pregnant or she has a young child. This is how life used to be. So because of that, she stayed home and she took care of the property and the agriculture and stuff. Man went out to do business or for war or something else, he went out. So men always died more often. So generally, in most societies in the past, the number of men was much less than the number of women, always. This has been the state all across the world. So naturally, when so many women were there, they needed care and they needed support in the society, and those days a woman could not exist by herself. Unless she's protected by a male partner, it would be very difficult for her to exist by herself because she would be exploited in so many different ways. So always they attached themselves. So naturally a man ended up having 2, 3 women because the population ratio was like that. But now largely it's leveled out. If that becomes a social norm, then how do you decide somebody has whatever, multiple wives, and how do you decide somebody has no wife? This will become a social, collision, it'll become lot of problems in the society because we may act civilized. I'm very particular, I'm very clear about saying we act civilized, but when we are denied basic things that we need, all our civilization evaporates and we will behave like animals, yes or no? So, when fundamentals are denied, people will go flashing. So, that's not going to work in today's world. And above all, the women's condition will become very bad. If you're asking this question in a more existential way, well, see, this is a certain framework of not just of bone and muscle and flesh, there is a certain energy framework. Only because of that, it takes in a certain form. See, if you eat mangoes every day, and let's say a cow eats mangoes every day, at some point will you or the cow get confused whether you're a cow or a human being? Or will the cow get confused? Such a thing never happens because there is a clear-cut inner framework to which flesh and blood is added. But there is a framework, an evolutionary memory framework is there, it never gets broken, isn't it? So in this framework, how strong you keep this framework, how much integrity is there to this energy framework will determine many things about your life, many aspects of your life. Especially if you want to raise this life to another level of function, it's very important you maintain this integrity. This is why, irrespective of which religion, which spiritual process, if people want to raise themselves to a certain point, first thing they will talk about is becoming monks or brahmacharis or sannyasis, because the idea is to create such a level of integrity that this is a whole life by itself, that it doesn't lean on anything else for support, either for physical well-being or emotional well-being or psychological companionship. It doesn't lean on anything, it stands by itself because you want to take it somewhere else. If you want normal function, these things are not necessary. Now you want to become a rocket which breaks through a certain dimension of space. Now you need to be in a different level of force and integrity, otherwise it'll crack up. So you don't want to open your body to anything, and especially opening to multiple partners has its own negativity in that context. How much pain, and you look at Draupadi's life, how much volatility, how much pain, how much suffering she went through in her life, and how much pain and suffering she caused because of her anger and jealousy and whatever else. So, these things happen for variety of reasons. You can't blame everything on that one aspect, but that aspect also has a say in these aspects because you're opening up your memory body, your energetic body, which is essentially ruled by memory, to variety of memories. This will cause a whole lot of turmoil within the system, which could affect that life and many other lives. So Draupadi's life is in a way a sample for that. It's not an absolute. This is not an absolute, but this has an influence. Runanubandha means the physical memory that you carry within you. This can happen because of blood relationship. This can also happen due to sexual relationships. That body has a certain memory. It's not appropriate to say genetic memory. Runanubandha is not like genetic factors being transmitted from parent to child, not on that level. There is a physical memory of remembering where you came from. Not necessarily in terms of tone of your skin, shape of your nose, how you're built, your race, not that. It is just that if you just as much as hold somebody's hand, you will develop Runanubandha. This is why in India if you come, people will do like this. They don't want to do that. We will love you like this. And there are many things, they won't give certain substances. Nobody will give salt to you or will receive salt from you. If you try to give them salt, you'll say, keep it here. They don't want to take it from your hands. The till or the sesame seeds, they won't take it from you. Certain types of soils, nobody will receive it from you. If you want to give soil to somebody, any kind of soil, there are rituals where soil is given, always you keep it down, I'll pick it from there. Never take it from somebody's hands, because you will develop Runanubandha. Because the culture is constantly conscious of not building bondage, to keep the bondage of life to the minimal extent, only to the extent it's necessary, because you're working towards your liberation. Because of that, this awareness and these sensitivities have come. So the body remembers any kind of intimacy, not only with another physical body, any kind of intimacy, even with any physical substance, it remembers. Certain types of substances are more capable of doing this, certain other types are less. So, for this here in the temple, they're doing kleshanashana. Have you been through it, anybody? The fire wash. That is, if you're not getting cleaned with a regular shower, we're burning you out. So what kleshanashana is a way of burning various types of physical memories that we have picked up, not necessarily because of relationships, just by contact, just by coming in touch with so many things. People, situations, atmospheres, so many things, this body picks up memory. Physical memory, beyond a certain point that what you pick up, will cause a certain level of confusion. Confusion, not here, this confusion is a different thing, that is something you have earned. But physical confusion, if the body is confused, it can't come to ease. It is… many of you have noticed this, certain days your body seems to be confused. Have you noticed this? Wherever you sit somehow, another day you sit down, So, we created various systems to cleanse. One thing is fire wash, air wash, really. Of course, the water wash every day. When I was in a period of time when I was into lot of sadhana, I would have somewhere between 5 to 7 showers a day. Because your system becomes so sensitive, you sat on this cushion, now you're conscious what this cushion is doing to you. So you want to wash, at least just water running over your body. 5 to 7 days, 7 times a day. This is not like calculated, I must do it 5 times or 7 times. Whenever you feel like it, most yogis have shower at least twice a day, minimum. Usually it's a dip in the river, just at least once you dip in flowing water so that you're washed clean. And during the shift of southern hemisphere to northern hemisphere, which is right now, and again from north to south in June, July, these times the winds are strong in tropical country, or at least in India. In the Indian subcontinent, the winds are strong. So, there are simple processes where you must go and stand in the wind so that you get a wind wash, proper air wash. You will see it'll do wonders to you. You try this, when there is a strong breeze, just wear something loose and just simply stand there for half an hour, being conscious of this, with your eyes closed, both this way and from the back. You get enough breeze flowing over you, you come back into your house and you feel like, so much lighter and better. You don't know this probably. All the sannyasis, all the sadhus and sannyasis always use very fine sieved mud, red earth to color their clothes. Entire ashram is painted like this because it's just soil we used, okay? Soil with a certain… a certain adhesive sticks like paint. And all buildings in the ashram were painted like this. And all sadhus, sannyasis, those who are on spiritual path, wash their clothes with red earth, filtered earth, with that they wash, so that's why that color, that's how it's come. So either you must wash separately or every time you must coat it with some soil material so that the runanubandha, the only runanubandha that you hold is with the earth, not with people around you, not with things around you, just with the planet. That is okay, because if you wear clothes, because the word soil here is used differently, if you wear soiled clothes No, no, not like that. Dipped in red earth, if you wear these clothes, in some way, it is a reminder for the body as to where it comes from and where it'll go. So, those who are on the spiritual path always use clothes which have been dipped in filtered red earth. You won't see it, it doesn't feel like it, but actually the very color, actually the white clothes turn into mud color because it's been constantly washed with filtered earth. So washing Runanubandha is… one way of doing it is you have a mud bath. So existentially, when physical memory overlaps upon itself, it will cause a physical level of confusion, which will bring a certain level of discomfort, lack of exuberance, lack of involvement with anything, that you become a veteran when you're living. You must be a veteran of life after you're done with it. Before you're done with it, you shouldn't become a veteran, isn't it? But that will happen to you. That means in some way, because of overlapping memory, you become less alive to everything around you. That's what we concerned about, that you're becoming less alive.
Sadhguru, how can a person stay committed to someone in a relationship? Is it natural to love someone and yet be sexually attracted to others? What should be the proper course of action that should follow, or how does one handle this?
See, there is a psychological integrity, there is emotional integrity, but there is a biological integrity also. Integrity does not mean morality. Integrity means you create a situation where it works best for you. So when we say integrity, suppose I say, there is a certain integrity to my body, this means it's strong and resistant to a whole lot of things, isn't it? It doesn't mean I'm morally stuck in something. So I'm talking about… I want you to understand the word integrity in that context. We're talking about integrity in terms of strength of this life. So if that is the thing, is it true? Do you remember how your great-great-great-great-great-grandmother 10 generations ago looked like? Do you remember? No. But her nose is sitting on your face. Yes or no? Body remembers, isn't it? Body remembers your forefathers 1,000,000 years ago. Yes or no? So what you're calling as my body is a heap of memory, isn't it so?
Yes.
Memory or no? See, now from Nepal you came to Shillong, you eat a lot of this Meghalaya food, your features won't change because your body remembers what is your genetics, no matter what. Or you start eating, let's say, cow's food or dog's food, your body will not get confused and become a dog or a cow because there is evolutionary memory in this. Do what you want, it never gets confused, isn't it? You start thinking I'm a dog and start barking like one, still the body won't change. Yes or no? Mentally you can, but body has such a deep-rooted memory. So this entire body, what you have, is essentially a certain integrity of memory. If that loses that memory integrity, then you will see it will become vulnerable to so many things. Now, the nature of the body is such that anything that you touch with a certain level of involvement will naturally absorb that memory. Not mentally, physically it'll absorb that memory. Traditionally in this culture, we call this Runanubandha. You heard of such a word? Runanubandha. What this means is physical memory that you gather. Why people… you will see this with people, let's say in their home, they will go and sit in one place. This will usually the older people you will see, they want to go and sit in the same place. They won't sit in another place. Have you noticed this? Even your dog, he comes, if he wants to sit here, he'll smell this, he'll smell that, he'll smell that, he'll smell that. And after much searching, he will settle down in that particular place. Next time you chase him somewhere, he comes, he goes and sits in the same place. Because there is memory. Today there is forensic equipment where you're sitting here right now, you went away. After 2, 3, 8 hours, if they come, not with a dog can easily do it. But with forensic equipment, we come here and just check this chair and we know it was you who was sitting here, not somebody else. So there is memory. Wherever you sit, stand, whatever you touch, there is memory and transaction happening all the time. Well, you come from Nepal, in India also it's very much there, in south is very strongly there, north maybe it's become weakened. People never give salt to another person. Do you know this here also? If somebody gives you salt, you say, please keep it there. Because there are certain materials which transmit memory much better than others. Salt, sesame seeds, lemons, like this, if you give traditional people, they'll say, keep it there, I will take it. Because they don't want to develop runanabandha with you. Now, in India, if you see older generation of people, if you try to shake their hands, they'll do like this, because they don't want to get runanabandha with you. Because the idea is to keep the integrity of your body's memory in such a way that it doesn't become vulnerable to other things, that you become a very integrated life. If you want to nurture yourself to be a certain possibility, then you have to maintain the memory integrity. This is what runanabandha means. You keep your physical memory to the minimum. A sexual interaction is something where a huge amount of memory is taken from one to the other. So, always, not in this society, everywhere else, forever people saw the advantage of keeping that memory to the minimum. If you make that memory very complex, you will see to be at ease will become very difficult after some time. There will be pleasure, but there will be no joy in your life. You can observe people, don't go by what I'm saying. You can observe people, they will have pleasure, they will giggle all the time, but you look at them, there is no joy in them, there's no ease. Because the ease will go away with excessive memory. This is not only with sexuality, there are many other things that you do like this. Right now you see this very much in the Western societies. Wherever I go, especially in America, people will come, Sadhguru, where is my hug? I say, it must be with you. Why is it with me? It is not like at a certain moment when you feel close to somebody, you hug them. It's like all the time you have to touch people. Because today's psychiatrists are analyzing these things and saying that is because they have not been sufficiently touched by their mothers and parents at an early age. When they grow up, they're desperately longing to touch somebody all the time. All these things have a serious impact on one's life. How much physical contact when the child is born, this will determine how much physical contact they will long for later on. And the memory of what an infant picks up from the mother at that time, because till a child becomes 4.5 years of age, in many ways, energy-wise, it's not a separate life, it's still attached to the mother's body. Actually, if by nature if people go till then, they must be drinking the mother's milk and connected up to 4.5 years, that's how naturally it was. So, the energy doesn't mature. At that time, more and more memory that you get from the mother is better and better to strengthen this. But once the child begins to move out and becomes an individual, life is organizing itself. People come to me and say, Sadhguru, can you bless my daughter, can you bless my son? First thing I ask is, how old? If they say 15, 16, 18, all right. If they're over 21, I say no. Because me blessing you, blessing will not go to your child. You may still think emotionally that's my child, but as far as life is concerned, it's become fully separate. Generally, the course of life is considered to be approximately 84 years or 1008 cycles of the moon. The cycles of the moon and our body is very directly connected. Only because our mother's bodies were in sync with the cycles of the moon, we are born, otherwise we wouldn't be born, isn't it? Hello? So, a full life is considered 1008 cycles of the moon, which will approximately considered as 83 to 84 years. So if one crosses 84, it's considered a full life. In this, the first quarter is the only time when it is connected to parentage. After that, the child must move, because energy-wise, you cannot connect those two lives anymore. So that is when the longing, if you have not created enough integrity within yourself, the longing for another body multiplies. Even though the hormonal phase may be higher between 15 to 20, the longing to bind and bond with somebody increases after 21 years of age, because unknowingly you're like a satellite who fell off the main mother. You come off the motherboard. Now you want to attach to something unless you find some integrity. This is why between 12 and 18, one must do lot of sadhana to strengthen the body so that you don't desperately bind yourself to something or somebody. You must consciously, if you wish to take a partner, it must be a conscious process. If it's a compulsive process, then you will pay the price for it. This is not a question of morality. It is not that this is sin, that is sin. The question is, what is your priority in your life? If your priority is to make this life rise to a higher possibility, then you must be conscious. If you want to somehow live and go, it's okay.
Thank you, Sadhguru.
I'm sorry if I discouraged
You just answered my question, Sadhguru. Thank you so much for that.
India historically has one of the lowest divorce rates in the world, particularly when compared to the Western countries. There are several factors that contribute to this phenomenon. Cultural and social norms. Indian society places a strong emphasis on family unity and harmony. Marriage is often viewed not just as a union between two individuals, but as a bond between families. Divorce may be perceived as a failure not only of the couple, but also of their families to maintain harmony and resolve conflicts. There is a societal expectation for individuals to prioritize the well-being of their families over personal desires or grievances. This can lead couples to persevere through challenges and seek reconciliation rather than resorting to divorce. Arranged marriages. Arranged marriages, where families play a significant role in selecting partners, are still common in India, particularly in rural and conservative communities. In such marriages, compatibility and shared values are often assessed before the union, which may contribute to the longevity of the relationship. Couples in arranged marriage may feel a sense of duty and obligation to their families, leading them to work through differences and strive to maintain the marriage despite difficulties. Legal framework. India's legal system imposes certain barriers to divorce, particularly under Hindu law. Divorce proceedings can be lengthy, complex and expensive, involving legal grounds and requirements that must be met before a divorce can be granted. The legal process for divorce often includes provisions for mediation and reconciliation, encouraging couples to explore alternatives before resorting to divorce. This process can act as a deterrent for couples seeking to dissolve their marriages. Economic dependence. Economic factors play a significant role in marriage stability, particularly for women. In many parts of India, women may be economically dependent on their husband or their marital families, lacking financial independence or opportunities for employment. Fear of financial insecurity and social stigma associated with divorce may deter women from leaving unhappy marriages. Economic dependence can thus serve as a barrier to divorce, compelling couples to stay together despite difficulties. Religious beliefs. Religious values and teachings in India often emphasize the sanctity and permanence of marriage. Divorce is generally discouraged except in cases of extreme necessity such as abuse or infidelity. Couples may feel a moral and religious obligation to uphold the sanctity of marriage even in the face of challenges. Religious beliefs can provide a sense of guidance and support, reinforcing the commitment to maintaining the marital bond. Together, these cultural, social, legal, economic, and religious factors contribute to India's low divorce rate by fostering a societal environment that prioritizes marital stability, family unity, and reconciliation. However, it's essential to recognize that this landscape is evolving, particularly in urban areas where attitudes towards marriage and divorce are shifting with changing social norms, increased education, and economic independence.